Morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
And a good morning to you. It is Coffee and Time here on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us on Monday morning. It's December 16th, while a very light snow continues to fall here in the Blackstone Valley. And Dave Richards is at the Coffee and table. Good morning to you there, Dave.
I am. Hey, what do you know, Joe?
You're right over there.
I guess I never got up.
No, well, you moved over a little. Anyway, we're going to be joined by State Senator Melissa Murray, and at 8:30, we're going to be joined by Paulette Hamilton and Rosalind DeCruz. And Paulette and Rosalind will be here to talk about the Rise Prep Mayoral Academy becoming a charter school, and they're in favor of this. And they'll be here to tell you why they think you should be in favor of it as well. So in the meantime, though, we'll talk about other things that are going on. First of all, the Patriots lost. No big surprise. Anyway, it'd be nice if they showed up.
What do you think? I mean, that's 4 in a row?
That's 4 losses in a row.
Right.
Puts them squarely in last place because the Jets
Lou
won.
seems to think the 5 in a row is in the offing, but we have to wait a week for that.
Oh, yes. Buffalo comes
That's
to
what
town.
he seems to think anyway.
Buffalo comes to town, and they just came off a very big win, scoring 48 points.
I would have loved to watch that
against a good
game.
team. What are they going to do against us? Ugh, could get
Did
ugly.
the Lions win on Thanksgiving Day? I
Yes,
saw
they
that
did win.
played.
They did win
yeah?
on Thanksgiving this year. So.
I never saw the end of that game.
People were saying that it's a possibility that the game on Sunday between the Bills and the Lions could be a possible Super Bowl preview.
Well, then I'd watch the Super Bowl
if you can get by the
because
Chiefs, of course.
what I like I like high scoring games.
That
Joe,
was a
you
high
know
score,
that.
48-42. The Bills did prevail.
Sure.
All right. Anyway, and the Patriots will be losing on Sunday against the Bills in Foxborough. So anyway, the big news over the weekend, boy, when they say major cyber attack, Dave, they ain't kidding, right?
Oh yeah.
That happened here in Rhode Island. Hackers were able to breach the online portal RI Bridges, through which Rhode Island citizens access social services like SNAP, Medicaid benefits, and health insurance. We're talking Social Security numbers, bank account numbers have been stolen to a majority of Rhode Islanders. And so now the state has set up an 800 line if they've got questions or some places that they can call to figure out what to do.
Well,
we were sent the press release, Dave.
You said an 800 line. That's not.
No.
I don't want to give people the wrong idea. It's an 833 line.
Okay. It's a phone number to call.
Well, yeah. And it says here 833-918-6603. I don't think people have any idea how serious this thing could be. Now, I have a feeling that the government has been made to understand how serious it is. And I have a feeling that some people in state government understand how serious it is. The situation is this. You say, oh, gee whiz, RI Bridges. It's all the people on food stamps and, all, public assistance and everything else like that. They don't have any money to steal anyway, so what the heck? No. Everybody who gets their health insurance from the state, the state plan. And that's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of people. I venture to say it may be more than your commercial companies.
Mm-hmm.
Not aggregately, but any one commercial company. People get it through the state plan. So, because... And what's that?
Including me.
There you go. Well, listen, your banking information, everything else about you has just been stolen by crooks.
Everything.
That's Melissa Murray over there, State Senator Melissa Murray.
Aye.
Did you get any other briefing over the weekend?
No.
No.
Oh, no, and they weren't really loud about trumpeting this thing.
But this is a big deal.
Because
It's a big deal. No. So we got a press release.
Well, we got that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all you've...
Well, you got it from
That's
me.
Right.
When I got it.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
there's no...
I got it at the same time as y'all did.
So no, emergency... we
nope.
should all cut this
Press release.
No,
Press
no,
release on
nothing.
Sunday
All right.
at
Yeah.
11 a.m. Ha!
Yeah.
Well, even missed the Sunday morning chat shows and news
They were
programs.
recorded on Friday, so yeah.
Right. Yeah. So basically, what you've been hearing has been just the preliminary stuff, of course. And what they and what they've decided to do about it. I can understand they don't want to get they don't want to get too much into the news part of it until they have the answer for the news.
Yeah.
And I can get that. And that wasn't assembled until yesterday. But here it goes. Yesterday they had an initial opening, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Now, starting today, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., right after coffee and you can call. I don't know what good it's going to do you to call, but you can call and get some information. They're going to give you the same tired stuff. Well, change your passwords and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
like this and all of it. But I can't change my passwords. This is the only password I can remember. You know, we're going to have to change it to some other. But, well, get with it, folks. If you want, you know, if you want to live in this day and age,
You can't
Your
have the same
government-
password for everything like I do.
yeah. What's that?
Like
I said you
do.
can't have the same password for everything.
Oh, no.
No,
No,
you
no.
can't.
That's
You
absolutely
can't.
wrong. You couldn't get any more wrong than having the same password for everything. Or simplistic passwords.
Right.
There are some things
Like
like
ABC 1 2 3. We talked about this before.
yeah.
Right.
They're still the favorites.
And yeah. 3 places that I stayed in Europe, they had their Wi-Fi password was ABC 1 2 3, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0, and 1 2 3 4 5 A B C D E. Like
Well,
literally, that. So if you have those
The
kinds of
Wi-Fi-
passwords, don't. But
The
don't.
Wi-Fi is really a public Wi-Fi. We have a guest Wi-Fi here. It's its own little world. You can't get to any machines. You can't get to a printer. You
I know,
can't
but
get to
but these are
anything
these
except
are
the
little
internet outside
businesses
the
that
building with
don't
it.
maybe understand. But what my point was.
So
like, if,
I mean, there's nothing to steal
Right.
with a Wi-Fi password.
But if you're-
your point is well
my
taken.
point is, if your password is something like that, change it. Don't do that anymore.
And
It's not good.
And the last time we talked about it, you know, people say, "Oh, password." I got to think of a word. You don't have to.
No.
No, you don't.
It's time to start using phrases.
Yeah.
A little. It's
With
a
numbers
small
put
little,
in there.
A small little sentence.
Numbers put in there and some punctuation. Yep.
yes.
And write
Yes.
it down and save it somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I do all the IT stuff here at the station because I'm responsible for the security and all the rest of that sort of stuff. You just get a password that you can remember. 3 months later, the companies I deal with make you change the password.
That's always a good idea.
Yeah, well, great. It's really good idea to make other people go through it.
Right.
But it's not a really great idea to have to remember the password.
That's right.
So, what are you going to do? You're going to put it in a computer that will remember it, which I am totally against. You open up my computer, it doesn't have passwords for anything in it. I have to type in passwords. Because somebody grabs hold of this laptop, they got all the passwords in the place.
Right.
We can't have that.
Yeah.
So, and there is no foolproof way to be completely safe with the internet. There isn't, folks. So, I mean, already understand. The best you can do is slow them down and make yourself look so unappetizing that they'll just go steal from somebody else.
Yeah. But this is potentially social security numbers, bank
Thanks.
account numbers, right? This is a
You
lot
give
of
it
stuff.
to the state. I didn't want to
Yep.
give anything to the state.
Yeah.
So the question, Dave, on this phone number, if you call it, are you going to get a recorded message, or are you going to actually talk to a person? And too
well.
bad for the person, the live person, if they have to answer a phone.
Well, Joe,
say?
you're asking me to predict the future.
Well, I don't know if it says in the press release.
Oh,
You get a
well,
recorded
in the
message.
press release, it says call center staff.
Oh, wow! You are going to get a live person.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's not
Yeah.
busy.
After a few
right.
hours.
Yeah.
That's right.
Or a few days.
Oof.
There is no optimism in this whole thing. And forgive me for being a pessimist about it, but I can't muster any optimism knowing the way government works and the way people work. And just coming into contact with several hundred people yesterday, dozens of them asking me, because they know my technical acumen, Dave, do I have to change my password? I said, yes, yesterday. Yes.
Do it immediately.
Yesterday. But I don't want to change my password. I just got it so I can remember it. I said, you got to
If
do
that's
it.
the most inconvenient thing in your life, then you got it pretty good, right? But also, like, what I would say is that if you get benefits, and these are the kind of programs too, like SNAP, but you know, you've heard me talk about Rhode Island Works and how that helps families with young children. So if you are a Rhode Island Works benefit recipient,
Beneficiary.
yes, beneficiary, you are being urged to learn how you can freeze and unfreeze your EBT cards to ensure that they don't take the benefits and that your benefits aren't stolen. And
Right.
like we're talking
And then
about
don't buy any food or milk or anything.
yeah,
like that.
we are talking about families with young kids, mostly children under 6.
Right.
Wow.
This is
They
catastrophic.
need stuff daily. And you got to go and freeze your car.
And what if somebody takes your your money and,
And
you
you-
have no
and you-
money to feed your kids and it's 3 weeks before Christmas or 15 days before Christmas or whatever it
Yes.
is, right? 10
Well-
actually, but
on the
9.
Okay.
mustering up a little optimism,
yeah, let's
knowing
try to
that
do
this
that.
is the case, maybe we could be
proactive.
optimistic enough that the state will say, "Oh yeah, right. Okay, so you got hacked. Here's some more money." If you could ever get to them to tell them that it happened,
Yep.
because
Yep,
there's
they're
just
trying to cut
so
a
many
deal.
people and so few people in the call center.
Yeah.
So, but we deal with this with government all the time. Just try to get a human being, and then divide by the number of human beings that care when you get to them, and don't just give you some answer to get you off their phone so that
Well,
they
yeah.
can go to break.
The problem is the people that you're calling, they don't have any answers.
Right? There aren't any answers. We're all
cannot-
screwed.
They cannot fix the problem of what you have, other than hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
So I will tell you that the programs now are reverting to paper applications starting on Monday. So
Starting today.
yeah,
That'll speed things right up.
Yeah.
well, here's
yeah,
the thing,
paper.
you know, the Healthy Road app, they're shutting it down. So if you need to, or if your benefits are up for renewal, or you're needing to renew anything, you're going to have to do it on paper right now, which is,
And mail it in.
or go into the DHS
So
office.
take a day off of work.
Yep, that's right. And but if you get UI benefits from DLT, like unemployment benefits, those were not affected. The DLT's website and their system is completely separate. This is for
Okay.
other benefits. So that's the one good thing about this is if you are out of work and you're getting unemployment insurance, that was not affected by this breach. But if you're getting SNAP or you're getting at-home assistance or TANF funds, you know, you need to be very vigilant about making sure that your information, change your passwords, and that your benefits are safe, and freezing your card if you have to. So I guess you would, because I don't have that information how to do it online. You'd have to call and find out.
So should people call the banks too and say, I don't know, close
Sure.
this account and move all the money into a new account?
If they
Start a
can,
new account?
if they can, I would.
And how fast can
Yeah.
financial institutions do that?
Well, if you have certain financial institution that I have, they can do it the same day, and you can walk out with a new card with a new number the same day.
Okay. all
But
right.
not all banks offer that.
Well, no.
I'm just very lucky.
So okay, wow. So that was big news over the weekend. What happened here?
It's giant.
Has anyone heard? Will the governor make any kind of announcement? Any kind of press briefing? Any kind of a press
You're
conference?
asking us to predict
I
the
am.
future
well,
again.
no, I'm not asking to predict. I'm asking. Have
They
you heard,
don't know what they're doing
Have
yet.
you heard he's going to do something or have something like this?
I
today
only know
or
what you
tomorrow?
know.
Now that's not right, Melissa.
Yes.
You should know a lot more than
That
me,
is correct.
being a state senator.
And I've been affected also because I get my health insurance to
yeah.
the state.
So, all right. Well, have you been getting a lot of texts from constituents? And
No, not unfortunately, not a lot of people
maybe
know
it's-
about
maybe
this
it's too
yet.
early.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Well,
Wow,
the
okay.
first thing, the fastest thing, the most useful thing that anybody can do is to change the password so that the information that somebody has will be much less useful to them. And they've got so many millions and millions of people's stuff to sift through.
Yeah, by
Not
the
just
time
from
they
Rhode
get-
Island, but for all the other ill-gotten gains they've
By the
gotten.
time they get to you,
No, if they get to you and you've changed your password, they're not going to spend a lot of time trying to hack it.
yeah, we'll move on.
Right, because I got another poor slob who didn't change their password right over here to go to and get all this stuff done fast before the government stops me or finds out who I am.
Okay, we're gonna take our first
So
break.
make yourself look insignificant or not easy prey.
Time for,
Change the password.
time for our first break on the Coffee and Program. Comments and questions on this or any other subject, give us a call, 766-1240.
If you are looking for medical care provided with integrity and compassion for all patients, choose Landmark Medical Center. Why? We heal body and mind. From heart care and wound healing to preventative care and services specifically for seniors in the community. And we provide the high quality care you need close to home, in your own community. We also offer emergency care when you need it most. Our emergency medicine team offers care 24 hours a day, every day. At Landmark Medical Center, quality, compassion, community is what we're all about. To learn more, visit the website landmarkmedical.org.
This is Robert Stewart from Woonsocket Teachers Guild, reminding you that holidays are a season of giving your time, your money, and an opportunity to help others. We enjoyed the Christmas Day concert and think you will as well. May the holiday season bring you joy to you and your family. We hope that you will find a way to make the life of a child or a family member or a stranger more joyous this season. Woonsocket educators are proud of the work we do to make a difference in the lives of the youth of Woonsocket.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON AM and FM.
It's Coffee and here on ONR Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning. Well, should we move on to Dave's here and Melissa's here? Should we move on to the a good story?
Yes, please.
Hasbro donated 10,000 toys to Rhode Island foster families
Great.
over the weekend, so that's nice.
That's really great.
Pawtucket-based Hasbro teaming up with the Rhode Island Department of Children, Youth, and Families to support the annual Foster Forward Gift Drive. Mm-hmm.
That's very nice.
So that's nice of them to do that.
How about the really controversial thing that's going around the city? It's got
What's
me
that?
all up in arms.
What's got you up in arms, Dave?
Yeah.
What
City Council's moving to 7 o'clock.
Oh, that's real controversial, Dave.
I liked it at 6 o'clock.
I know, but guess the others decided.
Because I got a chance to go to bed. I get up early in the morning. I want to
I
hear
know
what's
they-
going on, and I got a chance to go to bed.
When they started at 6, they ended around 8 or 8:30. Now they're going to start at 7. go to about 10.
Not necessarily. I mean, let's be honest. Did they really and really, or was it just an extra hour? Being a politician
Just an extra hour, Melissa.
to talk.
Looms big at 4 a.m.
No, I know.
Just an extra hour looms very big at the wee
I'm saying
hours.
it seemed that they
If
went
you could
long,
just roll over
even
for
though-
1 hour. and get a little more rest.
I agree, but it didn't seem to affect the end time of the meetings to me. But I could be wrong.
You were.
Okay.
Because I was living it, and it was definitely getting out earlier.
Okay.
It's not that it really affected the length of the meeting. That part you're right about.
Right.
But the end time was clearly earlier, more frequently.
Okay.
Because I was seeing meetings go to 11 o'clock and beyond, and still getting up at 4 in the morning. Give me a break.
Yeah, those are like state committee hours. Yikes.
But the
Yeah,
good,
but you only do it a portion of the year.
That's
They were
true.
doing it all the time.
That's true.
but the good news is the Tiki Bar is going to be on at 6 every Monday now.
Woohoo! Tiki Bar's back.
I won't be preempted by the city council.
Is
meeting.
that why you're not amused by my
That's why he doesn't
problem
care.
here?
No, that's why I'm happy with the
A
problem.
little
Dave.
selfish, are we?
Well, I'm looking at it
Uh-huh.
from my point of view. So, all right. Other things going on. I didn't even know this was a political party in Rhode Island. I don't know if you heard of them, Melissa. No Labels Rhode Island. Was it?
Yeah,
actually?
I've heard of it.
Okay, then not anymore. The Rhode Island Board of Elections said you didn't have anybody,
Yeah.
so you're not really you've been
Can't-
disqualified.
You didn't have any candidates.
You had no candidates on the ballot. How can you call yourself a political party? So, thanks. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Can they come back?
Presumably,
I don't know
maybe
how you
for a
get-
different.
How do you
Yeah, I
get
don't know.
recognized as a political party in the state? I don't know.
I imagine it's probably not easy.
Well, they did it somehow. But they
I heard about them, but I don't know anything
No,
about them.
okay.
Because they didn't really spread the word, and they didn't have any candidates.
They didn't stick to the walls.
No. The Board of Elections
Like
voted
wallpaper.
unanimously, said, okay, they're off the list. No candidates, so it just disqualifies them. So, okay.
I mean, if you're new, we'll give you a couple of years or whatever to get some candidates. But if you're
And come on back.
not going to do that, then why are you a party?
Correct. So, okay. And U.S. Congressman from Rhode Island, Gabe Amo, is sponsoring legislation to address gun violence in America that's actually got the backing of the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association. They're behind this. It's intended to ensure that former law enforcement service weapons are not sold to what are described as, quote, unscrupulous firearms dealers, unquote, and then
As
used
opposed to
commit
the
crimes.
scrupulous ones,
As
huh?
opposed to the scrupulous ones. That's right. So when police officers retire, they keep their service revolvers. Okay, as long as they want. Is that the general rules? I don't know what the ruling is on this.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Okay,
I mean, they are properly trained to use them,
sure.
which is important.
But now you have it. Let's say you retire. You have it. You retire for 10 years or so, and you say, okay, I don't want the gun anymore. You're not allowed to sell it. Is what this bill will do. At least you can't sell it to whoever you feel like selling it to.
Well, that's good.
I guess
you
you got to
shouldn't
go
be able
through
to.
you got to go through a
to go through the
series
proper
of,
channels,
a
yeah.
series of steps to
Yep.
sell it to the like go to like Bullseye and MTR. Mm-hmm. Those are your scrupulous dealers, Dave.
I'd agree.
Right.
As opposed to Joe Smith off the internet,
Right.
who you're meeting in the parking lot just to pass your gun to. So
Yeah.
So
Not a bad
overall,
piece of legislation.
overall, good piece of legislation, and since
Good intentions, but
yeah, and the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association is behind it, so that gives it real credibility right there. So all right, good. Another robbery and assault at Providence Place Mall. I really don't know why anyone goes to this place.
I don't know. And I worked there for a little bit, and we had
Did you see
Things
any
ha-
scary
yeah.
stuff?
we had a stabbing. We had to shut down the store.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it near your store? Did you?
Yes, it was on the third floor. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, if you've never been to the Providence Place Mall, first of all, it's confusing to try to get to where you want to get. If you don't really know where you're going, you're lost. It's not a big circle. Mm-hmm. It's just
Yeah.
And
It was getting worse and
Yeah.
worse. Yeah. And that was 4 years ago.
the last
So,
time I was there longer than that. Last time I was there, give it like 7 years or so, and it was some kind of get together with some people I was working with at Dave and Buster's. Mm-hmm. And once you get into Dave and Buster's, everything was fine. Nothing bad happened in there, but it's getting there and then getting out, and that's what happened here. A restaurant employee, which was probably Dave and Buster's, because I don't think there's any. Well, there's some fast food stuff there.
yeah.
But a restaurant employee was assaulted, robbed on the Sky Bridge at Providence Place Mall. That
boy.
attaches.
Yeah. Then it's indoors. Right.
It's indoors. It attaches the convention center.
To the Omni.
Yeah. Okay. Police say the victim was confronted by a group of several people who began to assault him at around 10:30 p.m. Mall security used pepper spray on the suspects. The victim was taken to a hospital for treatment. Police have one suspect in custody, and this 18-year-old is now facing charges. But
It was always young folks too. Like
Yep.
they would just mill around, hang around. It was open. It was you're inside, and it was groups of kids, teenagers that would just, run around. Yeah.
it's tough down there. My daughter's going there, and I'm always worried when she goes there. All right, I do have a question for Bob Lauder, and I will save it for Thursday. But I can get you guys' opinion on this. This whole thing with drones is now is just taking off like wildfire. Mm-hmm. So if one flies low enough on your property, are you allowed to shoot it out of the air or smack it out of the air if you can reach it like with a baseball bat? Is that okay?
I would.
Yeah, but is it okay?
I don't know.
Is this legal, or are you now destroying private property that belonged to somebody else?
Okay, so do you remember? I think it was I don't remember when it was. That there was a woman whose neighbor was flying the drone in front of her window.
Yes.
And
Someone did smack it out of the-
she smacked it and down
Yes.
and went into like maybe
The pool? Yes.
Right. Okay, so I remember that correctly.
Okay.
And she didn't face any charges, but of course they had proven that
The owner of the drone did.
right because
he was filming.
he was spying on
Okay.
her
Dave, thoughts?
multiple times.
You can do anything you want, but there'll be consequences somehow, somewhere.
What are the consequences?
Because we're in a part of society right now where everybody can sue you for anything.
Right,
For just saying something like, "Oh, I don't like them," they can sue you for it because that's defamation. Because now they're no longer liked by everybody. I sound like I'm going a little bit far afield on this, but I'm making a point. The person who lost the drone lost something of value because
Right.
of your action, and they can take action against you. Will they
Will
succeed?
they win? Well, that's different.
Maybe,
Maybe
not. But there's a lot of hungry lawyers out there who will assist these people in suing anybody that they want to sue, anybody they don't happen to like enough today to share the planet with. So, yeah, that sounds really pessimistic. Yeah, it is really pessimistic. I don't like the way it sounds, but that's what I think. The drone thing is out of the bottle.
Yes,
Government
can't get back
did
in now.
not step in soon enough and regulate hard enough. And so it's now government's problem because government's got the issue right now, just like the gangs of people robbing people down in Providence. In all those many stabbings several times a week we keep hearing about on our news wire, I'm sick of even putting them on the air. The situation is this. The American public has decided they are not going to support their police departments in doing certain things that the police departments used to do before, which had the effect of keeping society in better order than it is today. And so removing that support from their law enforcement departments, the law enforcement departments can no longer do what they used to do. And that's an observation from somebody who's lived in the 20th century and observed things back then too. Because if I only lived in this century, I wouldn't know what I was talking about.
Well, I bring it up because out of Boston.
Well, am I wrong, Melissa? You're laughing.
I just think that's a funny thing to say.
Well, it's true. I mean, the world is changing is the
Yeah,
whole bottom
yeah,
line of
yeah.
everything I said. The world is changing. Right and wrong, black and white. Heck, there isn't any real true gray anymore. So get over it. Establish a new set of right and wrong. Get the memo out to everybody and start all over again with society, because you can't go by what you learned as a kid if you've attained any serious age here.
Up in Boston, 2 men are in custody because they flew a drone too close to Logan Airport. Now,
Yeah.
That's different. Now you're dealing with the FAA and things like that.
Right,
Now you're
right.
dealing with airports and you can't
That's
do
federal
that.
property. You cannot
So
do that.
They found these guys on a nearby island off the coast of out there in the harbor.
yeah.
And
I was prohibited from flying a drone on State House line.
yeah.
We did a broadcast at the State House. You were with me on that one, Joe. And we wanted to have drone footage. And so I contacted a licensed by the FAA commercial drone operator who could run the camera and get the signal down to me in the TV truck. And the Capitol Police said, no, drones.
Okay.
Ain't opening up that bag of worms.
If I were in my backyard just hanging out and a drone was hovering,
Get the BB gun.
right? And just like for a while, and like, how low are we talking? Are we talking like in my yard, like within my arm's reach? Because
Yeah.
that's
Or
well,
is it
that's
above the tree line?
still I would.
But let's face it, there's an
just
awful
concern.
lot of misbehavior going on with
Well,
drones
right.
from kids
Right.
who just want to do what they just want to do,
Which is
and
what
kids
these-
will be kids.
Right, but you right,
Which
but
might
you
be
don't
what
know
these guys
that.
are doing in Boston.
But you don't know that.
Right.
You
right?
don't. They're facing trespassing charges. I'm sure they're going to come up with a ton more charges
Oh, could
against
be.
against these guys as well.
They flew a drone over our property here at the radio station.
Did it hover for a while?
Oh yes, quite some piece of time. What they were shooting was the fireworks at the
Oh,
Holy Trinity Carnival.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
They were shooting that from a vantage point over the radio station.
Now, how do you know that?
I was out there looking at it.
At the drone?
Yeah.
And you could tell where the camera was pointed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there was nothing else to look at but those fireworks.
But you're
Well, right, and fireworks are happening, so you can presume, right? But you don't know. You don't know who's on the other
What's to
end.
stop them from doing it any other time is the question that
Yeah,
everyone asks
right.
rhetorically, because nothing stops them.
But you're a
from doing
technical
it
guy,
anytime.
and you can probably spot the camera right away, and you can see where it's pointed. I'd go out there and go,
Well, no.
I don't know what it's
it
doing.
was is it was a drone that was properly marked.
Okay.
And what's to stop anybody from putting a piece of black tape over the lights on those drones? But there's a green side and a right side, just like on a boat. There's a green side and a right light. There's a green light on one side, a red light on the other side. It's governed by FAA regulations as to which side is which, and you can see where the green light is in respective to the red light, and you can tell which way it's pointing.
and
See,
you're
but I
like,
don't
oh,
know
there's
that.
fireworks
The-
happening.
The
They're
navigational
probably
lights,
yeah.
and they were put
Okay.
there so that an observer can tell which direction it's heading.
Okay. We're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. We're going to get to our guests as well.
Oh my goodness!
And they're here.
Look
in
at the time's
studio.
all gone.
I know. And it's time for the forecast, which is being brought to you by Allstate Insurance.
A 50% chance of rain and freezing rain till 1 p.m., switching over to all rain after 1. Patchy fog, cloudy skies, and a high of 40 degrees with calm wind. Tonight, 100% chance of rain after midnight, patchy fog, temperature rising overnight to about 49 by 5 a.m. Southwest winds, new precipitation amounts overnight of a quarter to a half an inch of rain is possible. Tuesday's weather, rain mainly before 7 a.m., cloudy skies through mid-morning, then gradual clearing, high on Tuesday of 57. 60% chance of rain, a tenth of an inch is expected, and a wind from the west up to 25 miles per hour. Wednesday's weather, 30% chance of some rain, but mostly sunny skies with a high of 47. Thursday, mostly sunny, 43. Friday, a chance of some snow between 1 and 2 p.m., then a chance of some rain after 2, mostly cloudy skies all day Friday, high near freezing, 32 degrees. Saturday, a 30% chance of some snow, but more sun than snow, with a high of 30 degrees and a breeze from the northwest. On Sunday, sunny skies, high of 23.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with cloudy skies. Do we still have light snow? Yes. Thank you. We still have light snow. And we have 33 degrees.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
People choose cremation over a casket burial for any number of reasons. Cultural or religious tradition, personalization, simplicity, cost, and time are just some of the reasons. But only you can decide if it's the right decision for you or your loved one. Annette at the Beriducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center can answer your questions about the cremation process to see if it's the right decision for you. Beriducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center, Spring Street, Woonsocket. Visit ProvidenceCremation.com.
Hi, this is Gary Smith. Join me for Do You Remember, Tuesday through Friday mornings at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
It is Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us.
that's
My
the
name
voice
is
of Joe
Joe
Callahan,
Callahan.
everyone.
That's Dave Richards right over there. Hi, Dave.
Hi.
Melissa Murray's here. And we're being joined at the Coffee and Table by 2 ladies, and one you probably know and heard many a time.
The one is a lady.
Wait a minute. I won't have any of that.
That's Paulette
No.
Hamilton, everyone. Hi,
morning.
Paulette. Nice to
Good
have you
morning.
here.
Paulette,
And
Joe, has
Yes.
brought along a friend of hers, someone who has a very tough job to do. It would be a tough job anyway, but it's maybe a little bit tougher right now. And we wanted to be sure that we had a lively discussion about all the things that people are saying, because it seems to be a one-sided conversation in Woonsocket. So I raised my hand and said, okay, let's talk about the other side of what everybody's talking about. Okay, and did I hear you address our guest as doctor?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that you had a degree.
It's fine.
Well, I want to be correct about it. Dr.
I use it
Rosalind
often.
Da Cruz is here, and I know that you head up the Rise Prep Academy, but what's the proper title? What do they use for a title?
Yes, so we use, now that we're two schools, we have a K-8 school and we have a 9-12 school that with just 9th grade. So we use Rise Prep Academies. And our founding title was Rise Prep Mayoral Academy when we
Okay.
had one.
The executive director.
Executive director is the term. Okay, very well. I want to get it right. But welcome to the Coffee Ann Show. I want it on the record. She has refused water, coffee. She's refused.
I was offered.
She's refused her own private counsel or anything else like. Although Paula could probably help you with that. All right, enough of the lighthearted stuff. You've got a tough job to do. People are talking around town, and they're very, very concerned about what they see as a change in education in Woonsocket that will not benefit everyone. And I go way back, of course, and you do too, Paulette, with Governor McKee.
Yep.
And his one of his pet projects was to establish mayoral academies and that sort of thing. And the school that you run is part of that effort that he started 25 years ago or more. I remember him talking about it at chamber meetings. And as the years have gone by, he's had some success with that. His career has had some success with all of that. And we've come to this point over here. And so what we need from you is to hear your side of the story on all of this in order that people can make an informed choice. And that's why I asked Joe, can we bring these folks on here? And Joe says, sure, go ahead. Because Joe's he's a very easy
You're
guy to
welcome.
get along with. Now, not everybody is on board with what you're doing there, Rosalind. And I think that you have to show us what you're doing in terms that we're not hearing from the other side.
Sure.
Can you do that?
Sure.
I'll stop talking and let you talk away because otherwise we're not
that?
going to get anywhere.
Stop
Sure,
talking.
sure. Well, we're glad to be here. We do appreciate we for the most part we do try to just keep our heads down and do the work, and I think that sometimes that also results in us not speaking up and speaking out a little bit more about changes in our model and the overall landscape in Woonsocket. So we're happy to do that. I think the first thing to say that everybody can agree on is that funding for education in Woonsocket as a whole is not where it needs to be at all. And that's the same funding, right? Because in Rhode Island, the funding follows the child. And so if Woonsocket is not getting strong funding for education, that means that any school that is open, district, charter, anybody who gets that state funding and that local share funding is not getting enough to educate kids. And I think we have the unique insight to that, that I know Senator Murray also knows, is that we serve scholars from Woonsocket, North Smithfield, and Burrville. And so we see on a daily basis what our kids in North Smithfield get for local share plus state funding and what our kids from Woonsocket get from state share and local funding. And it is not the same. It's not the same at all. And that's also saying that our scholars in Woonsocket, the majority, need a lot more than some of our scholars coming from North Smithfield or Burrville. And so I think like the starting point that everyone can get on board with is funding is not right for Woonsocket and its needs right now across the board for any school. So I think that's the first thing that like everybody needs to get behind and really rally around this year and moving forward with the funding formula. I think the second piece to this is that we started as a K-8 and we started as a mayoral academy. And at least from my perspective, I moved here from Massachusetts, so I am a transplant. I want to name that. I really believe in the work of charter schools. I believe in the work of all schools. I taught in a district school outside of Boston before I came here. I know what it looks like to be in a teachers union. I know what it looks like to be up against the odds with funding. But I believe in school choice. And when the opportunity arose to come here and found Rise Prep in Woonsocket, I jumped on it because the need is there. Now, I will say that as a mayoral academy, we were excited because we were brought into this vision of mayoral academies that there's community buy-in, that there's people are on board with this. The elected official is on board. The school committees might have a hand in this and a say in this. So when we first came here, we thought the mayoral academy model meant that there was more community buy-in. Now, 10 years later, a lot of lawsuits and a lot of turmoil, we have realized that, in fact, it is a huge challenge to have political parties and elected officials that ingrained in education. It's very challenging. And so we, for the most part, for the last 10 years, we have put our heads down, done the work. We have a K-8 school right now that has about 570 scholars. Majority are from Woonsocket, but we also are still fully enrolling North Smithfield and Burrville. And we just opened our high school with 9th grade only that has about 65 scholars, majority from Woonsocket. And we still have some North Smithfielders who moved from the K-8. And we have some Burrville scholars who are new or came with us from the K-8 school. So across the board, we have this school system that we are building. And if you asked 10 years ago if we thought that we would open a high school and add another school and apply for expansion, I think we would have said no. Truthfully, I would have said no. I think our board would have said no. But when push came to shove and our families who had been with us since kindergarten asked, well, where is my scholar going to go to high school? And we talked about options starting in 6th grade. We have Mount St. Charles, you have Woonsocket Education System, you have Beacon, you have these options.
Vocational technical.
You got Davies, you have a lot of school choice, right? You have Legacy that came in from Central Falls. They're now serving Woonsocket scholars. Yeah. But for our families, they had started their education, they wanted that continuity, and we felt a huge responsibility for them. And I don't think that is talked about enough, where it was, we felt a responsibility to stick with them and with their kids, and they had gotten used to this small community. Now, I think where the pushback has come in a lot more in recent days is that we applied to transition from a mayoral academy to an independent charter school. So I think there is some confusion there right now that we are transitioning to become a charter school. We are a type of charter school already that receives public funding. We are lobbying to transition from a mayoral to an independent charter. And what this means is two things. It takes out having to have a town administrator or mayor have to serve as the board chair of our board. We have been really fortunate to have some great leaders, Paulette included, who have really wanted their communities to have school choice. That being said, we've also been at, whatever's going on in the city at the time, we've also been at risk of that coming around to us too. And so we want to separate that from that a little bit more. We want to be making decisions for our school, for our kids, for our families, separate and aside from local politics. It is very hard to do both at once. The second part to this is that the way that the funding formula is written, and because mayorals have had pushback in the past, there is a certain, internally we call it the trigger clause, the clawback. And so,
What was that again? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so there's a clawback in the funding formula. And what it does is it makes sure that there's separate money clawed back from charter schools that would make sure that it alleviates or supports these special costs that they're considering districts bear that they do not believe charter schools bear. And in some cases, that is very true. And it's a very complex formula, but basically what it does, and Senator Murray knows, it basically averages all charter schools, and it says, okay, out of the 40-odd charter schools in the state, we're going to now take that average of what you spend in any given category in that special calculation, and we're going to say if the average does not spend more than the district it serves, then we're going to claw back.
Take it back.
We're going to claw back some of their local share and put that towards that. Now, in practice, I actually think that the idea behind that had a lot of weight, and it had additional weight for mayoral academies because mayoral academies have this unique position where we can actually opt out of the pension system and do a 401k for our employees. So there was this clawback put in place that was supposed to withhold money to kind of get at these special education costs that might be higher or more significant than the average of what charter faces. And then the pension, as we don't pay into that, we don't get, any points for paying into a 401k, but we do get an additional clawback based on the unfunded pension liability.
Can you give a dollar amount?
Yes.
Can you just...
So in the past 6 years, Rise Prep has triggered this quite a few times. And remember, it's not that Rise Prep is spending less per scholar than Woonsocket, and they have per pupil expenditure, so you'll see some of these, but it's that the average of charters. So if schools in Providence are spending less on special education, it's just the average. So we could be very much neck and neck on a per pupil expenditure as Woonsocket, but because of these factors and the way it's written, there is going to be that clawback. So to put this in kind of actual dollar terms, this current year, there is $2,600 about local share that a scholar or a student going to Woonsocket Education System, so say they walk into Pothier, they go $2,600 is their local share. If that same scholar walks into Rise Prep, it's about $953 right off the bat. So right now we are having about 63% of our local share clawed back due to the funding formula. And that clawback goes to WED, and the idea is that it is making up for some of these special costs that the funding formula believes are less than. And so that is where we're at right now. Over the last 6 years, about 1.2 million has been clawed back, withheld, and WED has been able to keep that money due to this funding formula piece.
All right, let's take a break right there, and we'll see if Dave and Melissa
Not really
have
great
questions.
timing, but I see the clock.
Well,
Yes,
I'm looking
okay.
at the time. So we gotta fit in the commercials. But more of Coffee and is coming up. Stick around.
Important reminders from Kafin Oil. First, service contracts that cover most parts, labor, and yearly maintenance. Second, budget contracts spreading your payments through 11 months. Third, quality oil treated with Beckett UltraGuard to reduce sludge, protect tanks, and increase burner efficiency. Kafin Oil, 765-3881, offering full ventilation systems.
Woonsocket Door Sales can handle any kind of door installation, including residential and commercial, paying special attention to your door's infrastructure, such as framework repair, to ensure that your door is firmly in place. Woonsocket Door Sales is a fourth-generation family business, installing and repairing all types of doors. Please visit their website at woonsocketdoorsales.com to see a gallery of door styles, manufacturers, and testimonials from satisfied customers. Woonsocket Door Sales, 767-3448. Call Amy Bebo at 767-3448.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
Welcome back to Coffee and before we get back to the whole Rise Prep thing, I was sent this transcript, and this goes back to the cyber attack. So we got someone sent me the transcript of what happens when you call that 833 number, Dave. Mm-hmm. And so right away you get a recording. Thank you for calling. Currently all our representatives are busy assisting other callers. However, your call is important to us. Please remain on the line, and your call will be answered in an order which it was received. Then there was 17 seconds of nice, easy listening music to keep you calm. Then they come back on. Thank you for your patience. We apologize for the delay. Your call is very important. Please continue to hold, and the next available representative will be with you shortly. Back to nice music. And then the person who wrote says, I was on hold for 35 minutes for a nice woman named Susan, who's in Ohio, answered when I called the R.I. Bridges Data Breach Call Center Sunday afternoon, the 833 number, Dave. There was no callback option. Susan didn't have any new info beyond what was said at the governor's Saturday press conference and posted the alert page online. The hotline will be open Monday from 9 to 9.
So I heard that 833 number is by Equifax. It's an Equifax.
Their press release did not say that.
Yeah. There was one that came around. I just saw it recently, like in the last, before I came in here. But so you're not getting a person who is local.
No.
Right? So I think that, and I feel it's very unfortunate because a lot of people still don't know that this happened and then won't know what steps to take regardless.
Until something,
right,
right.
exactly.
I think it's really important to get the information about out there if you want to freeze or unfreeze your benefit card. So I'm going to look into that. But
Okay, now back
This
to you,
is-
Melissa, about Rise.
Sure. So I just want to
No,
make a
hold on.
general.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Let's
I just
not-
want to make a general statement that. So yes, it is pretty well known that I am the state senator for Woonsocket and North Smithfield. It's also
Well, it's a fact.
pretty well.
You can't
It is a
deny it.
fact. It's also a fact that I am on the Coffee and panel because I am an employee of ON Radio. I have I have a lot of feelings and opinions that I express, but I want to make it very clear that I am going to act differently here on ON Radio than I would as, a member of the Senate Finance Committee who would be asking folks questions that were in front of me presenting. So, this is not going to be a back and forth. This is a conversation and an opportunity that my boss has offered to these folks to speak their side. I'm not going to be hammering at them. If people are expecting that, they're going to be disappointed. But no, and I think that both the doctor and Paulette Hamilton know that I have very specific opinions on this. What I will say, because I can't help but say it. You are right about the funding formula. The funding formula is not fair. It was put in place, what 12 years ago now, where the state
So that was
had,
the recent hack up of it.
yeah.
yeah.
Right. They said, they had an amount of money, and they've admitted this because I was on the Funding Formula Study Commission, which has disbanded. And we had some recommendations, and I've put those bills in every single year to try to change them. But they started with a certain amount of money, and they backed in this very intricate formula to fit the amount of money that they wanted to fund for education.
Right.
It is not appropriate. It's not enough.
Right.
And I will say that the governor's budget for the past 2 years has cut the state's share, large cut to the state's share to urban districts. And it was only put back in because of the General Assembly. So I will say, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. If the governor would like to see the expansion, then he not only needs to fully fund the formula, it needs to be added to. That's all I would like to say.
I get it.
On
But-
that.
So your point is that the real problem with the funding formula, which every school is impacted by,
It's
including
highly
our guests at
inadequate.
Rise, right? That the funding formula's inadequacies have to be resolved, and it would behoove the governor, since he supports mayoral academies and charter schools, to
Fully fund.
reverse his direction from the past two budgets and help to solve the problem. Which would you say? I don't want to be putting your words in your mouth here, but would you agree that if the funding formula were addressed, there would be less opposition to Rise Academy?
No.
No?
But I see that as a huge issue. And I think that we can all agree it's a huge issue. But there will still be opposition.
Too bad it
but
isn't that simple.
It's not that simple. But you know
try,
what?
though.
It'd be really great, though. And it would be a lot
Yeah.
easier for everybody if
Well,
we had
certainly
the
be
money
easier
because
for you there,
the
Rosamund, right?
local share, the city is not able to contribute as much as other municipalities, and that needs to be recognized also.
Right.
Agreed. And I think the other thing is like, would it be easier for, like, would we have less, tensions running high at public comment? Maybe not, but like probably not. I think that the other part to this is that like no one gets into education being like, we hope other kids fail. Like we don't like that WED is feeling the stress of this. We don't like that we've felt the stress of this. We don't like any parts of this right now. It's not really actually working for anyone. And that is our problem. And when we brought this forward last year in the General Assembly, we said, was it the vision that schools would start losing up to 63% in terms of a clawback? And kind of the answer was like, no, not really. We didn't see where this was going. And I think that there's a huge lack of foresight and like the impacts as we grow. And I would agree with Senator Murray that I think that there's a place that both can exist, because the big thing I always think about is like when we talked about opening Rise Prep High School, we said, okay, so if they don't go, it wasn't just a Rise Prep or WED. Like our families were like, here's our choice. Like we're either going to Mount St. Charles and we're going to get all of the money we can from family members to go there, or we're going to apply into a lottery for a statewide charter school and go to the Met and have our child bused to Providence. Like, it wasn't just a one or the other. So I think to Senator Murray's point, like, there can be a funding formula that allows for all without such losers. And truthfully, I don't even want to say winners and losers at this point.
Well, that's it. Now, Rosalind, I'm going to take a leap of faith here and say something. Take a risky tack here, because on the one hand, you're obviously a very well-educated person, very dedicated to what you do, and I think that you can. I think you can answer this question here, although it's a little less cordial than I might have put it. Thank you for saying no problem. I don't think everybody on the radio caught that. But it's comforting to me because I'm not comfortable, because my thing is the lively debate. And this is why when Paulette, my dear friend, said, hey, what do you think about this? I says, I don't hear anything from the other side. They're doomed. I mean, all I'm getting from all of my news sources, all my entire orbit is strewn with people who want to see you go away.
Yeah.
And that's and that I think is a little too one-sided for my moderate mind. I am a moderate politically, and I like to see both sides, and I want to be able to make a decision. So when people say, and I'm going to put this, what people are saying, and you've heard it, I'm sure. When people say that if RISE continues this, if they get the charter change they want, it will be two parallel school systems, and there will be a school of the projects and a school of the residential middle class. They don't say it quite as nicely as that, but you get the point. When people say that, how do you react to that? I mean, how can you answer something like that? Because everyone is supposing a future that no one truly knows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
My reaction is not one of anger. It is not one of resentment. It is, I know what our student information system looks like. I know where our addresses come from. I know the kids we serve. I know that the only place in Woonsocket that we actively recruit is Woonsocket Head Start. And I think that that's a great place to dig into of like, who does Woonsocket Head Start serve? It is the most high need special education population in pre-K. So that's the majority. The second is that we flyer the projects. And we do the same in North Smithfield, and we do the same in Burrillville. And I would say that is why that argument has never landed for me morally, because I know who we serve. And now, do I think that there's not challenges in that? Do I think that we're serving every single kid in Woonsocket? No. But I do know in my core, based on need, based on address, based on families that I've gotten very close to in the past decade, I know who we serve. And we do serve the kids of Woonsocket. Across the board, it is not the most engaged. It is not most educated and excited. It is not, there's not like our whole family population is not all people with 4-year degrees. It is not.
So I heard you say that you're spending resources to do outreach to areas of the city that aren't naturally coming over and banging on your door.
Correct. Absolutely.
And the very ones that the education department is concerned that will be their only population.
Correct.
And you've been doing outreach right along.
Yes.
From that organization. That's good to hear.
Do we have time, Dave, for Dr. Rouse to explain how kids go to our school?
I don't think
How
so.
they're selected? No? By lottery?
I don't think so. Not to do a good job on it because we're about 2 minutes away, Paulette.
Okay. I just want to know that it is a lottery, so we don't hand pick people. They pray that they can get in.
On that aspect,
Big
though,
difference.
what's your reaction then, Paulette or Dr. Ross, when you say it's a lottery? The lottery's unfair.
I don't know. I don't hear that.
You don't?
Yeah, no, we don't.
You're not hearing that?
No, it's
Okay.
no different than Beacon or any of the other
People
options.
do
that's
think that
to
people
have.
apply who are more engaged in their child's trajectory. I hear that.
Yeah.
And I think for us, I would feel differently if our outreach looked different, but I don't. And I think that's kind of the piece there.
All right. Can you clear up the other thing that obviously the mayor of Woonsocket, Chris Beauchamp, the current mayor, has come up and said something that we had on our station that was probably the most helpful to you by saying these words to the city council, that if we do this, it takes the politics out of it. And that's what he said. Do you agree with what he said?
I think it takes a large amount out of the governance of the school, absolutely.
Because, you know, we've just recently had great tumult in the executive office here in Woonsocket. And there is clear division in our community regarding the past mayor and the present mayor. And so because of that, I believe that some of the pushback you're getting has to do with fallout from those who didn't support the previous mayor. That's the way I'm reading what people are saying. The last thing is, it has been said that Rise is lying about Burrillville and North Smithfield, about the students that you have there, that those communities, and I don't know this, but this is what's being said, those communities have decided not to participate anymore with Rise, and that the numbers that you have from there, what you're saying now is true, but it's misleading because they're not going to send any future students to you. That's what's been said. Please,
yep, I
please
can clarify
do.
that. So Burrillville, bless you. So Burrillville has put forward a resolution. It did not go anywhere. Burrillville scholars are able to join our lower academy, our K-8, or start in high school at Rise Prep. North Smithfield scholars are able to go to our K-8, our lower academy. They have to be enrolled in 8th grade at our lower academy to go to our high school. So they can't start fresh in high school. Other than that, the enrollment is fine. I think what happens is when city and town councils pass resolutions, the public perception of this is that it is fact, it is law. And we had a lot of families who were worried about continuity from Burrillville. They said, what happens if we can't? So we had to do a lot of calming effects on that.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing I could say is that it's all public record, and we have to, when we bill our tuition to a district to get our local share, we have to provide proof of residency. So like there's those numbers and those facts are all there. And I would also say that RIDE would be a good counterpoint to that. But no, that we've heard that too, and that's just...
Well, I want to give you a chance, since you
Yeah,
have the microphone,
appreciate
to
it.
address the things that are being said about you.
Absolutely.
I'll just say this last thing and give it over to Joe, because he's saying, Dave, we got to end. That you have done Rise a great service by coming here today and saying what you said on the air in front of people. I think that if you are allowed to conduct yourself in the same manner before our city council tonight, there's every chance that you won't have a total vote against you. I think that you can, if given the chance, you can persuade people your point of view, and I compliment you on that. And I wish you best of luck.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Yes, we have come to the end of the program. We could go on for another 30 minutes, I think. At least another hour or so, but we can't. Sorry about that. But thanks to Dr. Rosalind DeCruz. Thanks for coming in. And Paulette, thanks for driving her.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Driving Miss Daisy.
Just-
That was the other way around.
Was it? Oh, okay. All right. And Melissa Murray, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks, Dave, for the good questions. Very good.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
My name is
you.
Joe Callahan. Have a great day, everyone. Stay tuned for Leslie Page at the library is coming up next. Food First with Karen Zangari. And we got the Woonsocket City Council meeting tonight at 7, right here on
7 o'clock.
ON Radio, 7 o'clock. Tiki Bar at 6.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.